So, welcome back to Have a Good Time. I'm John Davey. We've got a couple of new likes and subscribes. Thanks to everybody who has recently liked and subscribed to the Facebook page and the YouTube channel and listened on SoundCloud and given me some feedback on those platforms. I was just thinking the other day how the development of this show so far has how it mirrors or resembles the development of my approach to music, doing music, and I'm starting with some similar basic elements of just things that I've accumulated, maybe like knowledge about certain things and interest in certain topics and how things work and are put together and stuff like that, and then just assembled something out of those component parts. And this podcast is, I think, a good representation of that. And it's interesting to me that 13 years after maybe I started playing guitar and writing songs, I'm still kind of in some ways I'm still implementing the same processes and developing things in a similar way. And it was something that I noticed even between the start of my musical journey, I guess you could say, career. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but the start of me playing music, and then kind of even towards way deep into that process, how the amount of knowledge and skill I had was expanding, but I always was implementing new things in exactly the same way that I did when I was maybe 14 or 15 and starting to play guitar. So even before I had written any new songs, or any songs, I should say, which was that, you take, something that's just sort of on the perimeter of what you're capable of, and you learn a new thing, and you do it pretty badly a number of times, and maybe even 100 times or something. But then, in order to be able to get it out there and express that, get it to people, or in front of some audience whatsoever, you in order to do it and be comfortable doing that, you have to master the new thing that's out there on the perimeter. So, and then so going to the edge of what consistently, and then mastering something new. And then going to the edge of something. So for example, in this podcast, when I first started, got this microphone and the recording equipment and everything, or recording software. Hey, by the way, props and thanks to my sister Lydia for giving me this microphone for Christmas last year. It's been a boon, I should say. So thanks, Lydia. But the point is, so I was way less comfortable using the existing recording software that I'm using right now for this. And I had maybe this vague idea that I wanted to implement video sometime before this process began, but I've always been a big one for just doing something. It sounds simple or trite or something like that, but I really like this idea of starting to do something, putting it out there in the world, and then letting the sort of feedback from that be a meter for further actions, and letting that feedback and reflection about what you're putting out there is kind of like sonar, almost, which is maybe too on the nose. A parallel here, because it has to do with sound, and this is a podcast and stuff. But you bounce something out there, and then its response shows you what else needs to happen, and where you need to go. How do you need to direct yourself. So putting something out there and then seeing the response and then adjusting accordingly is something that I've always done also with songwriting. And I understand some of the criticisms of that in the sense that if you put something out there and people have a negative reaction to it, like if it's bad, if it's not well done, if it's bad, which I at the beginning stages of something, I'm usually very comfortable, or I've become comfortable, I should say, with being okay with being bad at something. I think it's an important part of success in a general sense, if you will, is just getting comfortable with that process of being really bad at something. So, in the beginning stages, you're bad, you put some stuff out there, it's okay. And as you, so one possible criticism of that is that if people see what you're doing in an early stage before it's developed and perfected and stuff, then they sort of are associating that with your brand, and therefore it's sort of like a mark against your brand. Well, my response to that would be that I think it's perfectly acceptable for people to see something in its beginning stages. Well, I guess I would say that's would be part of what I'm trying to get across in general in the context of the show, with my music and etc. It's a useful thing to be able to kind of let people in, like I'm doing now with you, in on the process, and I think that's always kind of been part of my brand, is to just be like, hey, kind of like bring people into the fold, and that's just sort of my position about it. So if somebody sees something and then associates it with low quality or second rate or something like that, okay, fine. But eventually they're going to hear from somebody else, hey, there's this podcast or this song you should listen to or something. And so that you're basically, even if it's you're doing something that's kind of second rate, not that I'm saying this is, but if you're doing something at not such a high standard at first, then you're basically implanting a switch into somebody's mind or memory that can be flicked from off to on in the future. So you're kind of setting yourself up with element of surprise to be able to get across something new to someone who had the off switch, the setting off switch on. So that's kind of how my approach to it. Plus, right now we have a small audience. I think that means, and thank you for being a part of that. I think that means opportunity for growth and development and more focused approach as we go along. Because right now the sort of theme of the show is pretty broad, and I'm okay with that. So as I get more feedback, it will come into focus, and we'll learn, together what the show is going to be about. And I think that's a good thing. So the other thing is that with this sort of development from amoebic, gaseous kind of concept for a show, going to a more, developing in this primordial soup into something more concrete that gets some legs and crawls out of the swamp goes walking across the land, and maybe even fierce and imposing at some point in the future. That's kind of like the evolution is going to be the evolution of the show, and I really believe that. And the thing is that people, the fact that people are builders, we're sort of like set up. Our circuitry is such that we're interested in seeing things develop because we like to develop things. So if we can see something develop, it sort of clicks these certain flips these switches again, like I said, in our mind, that something that corresponds with our humanity, in the sense that we like to see something progress or be built, out of nothing, or out of some sort of fundamental elements, and so that's why I'm okay with at first initially just talking into my iPhone and putting a couple of episodes up like that, and then eventually sort of like getting a microphone, recording software, and then renting a space, getting some chairs for the space, eventually incorporating video like we're doing now. So I'm glad that you guys are part of this process, and it's really essential to me, because the people who I know that are listening now are kind of a pretty essential element of my life, and you're the people that are listening, you guys who are listening now, you're an essential element of my life, in the sense that your feedback and response give me a framework within which I see the world. And of course, there's all these necessary steps before that, like, something that's internal to me, which I'm responding to in you. But, as we grow and sort of negotiate what that framework is going to be together, then we can create something within that space. I think that's really cool, and is gonna be a great thing now and into the future. So thanks so much for listening. Thanks for subscribing, you newcomers. And please, add, if you'd like to hear kind of the more personal stuff, let me know. And if we want to get like bigger and abstract, and more cerebral, and want to take it that direction, that's cool too. Just let me know, one way or another. And I hope that whatever you're doing today, even if it's challenging, I hope you have a good time. I'm John Davey. Thanks.